pictures coming in on Thursday from Santa Barbara, California, and at first glance, you would never know that one of the largest wildfires in the history of the state of California is burning very close by. So actually, the air quality yesterday was pretty nice. Look at that, blue skies and sunshine. But of course, we're talking about the Thomas Fire. Welcome back here to Weather Nation. Meteorologist Matt Monroe with your California and Nevada forecast. There's Santa Barbara where that great picture was taken. Then you go up in the hills and the mountains just up to the north and east of town. And there sits the Thomas Fire, and this fire is absolutely enormous. Already close to 273,000 acres charred. That's more than 250,000 acres. And as far as containment, it's just about 65% contained. So we've been talking about this fire for quite some time, and it looks like it might be maybe a few more days to a week before we have 100% containment here. So that acreage, as far as burned acres, that number is going to grow. All right, here's some good news. The Creek Fire, over 15,000 acres burned, and we've just about got that one contained. That's 98% containment. And the River Bottom Fire, 50 acres, a relatively small fire, but that's how these fires start. If you don't get on them quick, you get some winds, and you got yourself a major fire. But I'll tell you, Cal Fire, which is just doing amazing work out there, jumped right on that River Bottom Fire, quickly got 100% containment. It just started yesterday. It's fully contained today, so kudos to Cal Fire, doing just superb work out there with all these wildfires. Now, we mentioned the Thomas wildfire. It is the second largest wildfire in state history. The only one bigger, the Cedar Fire back in 2003. And if you compare the acreage here, it looks like over the next day or two, the Thomas Fire will surpass the Cedar Fire and become the largest wildfire in state history. And that's, of course, not exactly an honor that we're looking to give it. Okay. Fire weather danger here. Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, still in this red shading. That is critical fire danger. And the brown shading here, that includes Las Vegas, kind of running right through California and Arizona state lines. That is elevated danger. So we got to watch any sort of outdoor burning. Quite frankly, just don't do it. But the good news is the winds have diminished and the red flag warnings have been allowed to expire, which is a little piece of good news there. San Francisco, earlier today, some cloud cover, but dry, and then further south out across Southern California. Here you go at Pasadena. Incredible. There's the Mount Wilson Observatory. You can see it really well, so really good air quality today out across Southern California. Now, there's the water vapor. You can see the moisture coming in, so San Francisco, that's why you see the cloud cover there. It's a little bit more dry out across Southern California, which is not a good thing when we're trying to put the flames out on some of these wildfires. It also has been very warm, and that trend continues as well. Average high in Los Angeles is about 64. It looks like right through Christmas between about 70 and 72. And as we continue on here, 70 degrees on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Morning lows upper 40s to about 50 degrees. Sacramento, average high 53, will stay above that. Tomorrow, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, back up to about 61 degrees. And then 60 Tuesday, Wednesday, 61 on Thursday. Morning lows upper 30s to near 40. And Las Vegas, Nevada, average high is about 56 degrees. Saturday, 57 up to 61 Christmas Eve, 64 degrees on Christmas Day. It's actually pretty nice. 64 again on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Morning lows upper 30s and lower 40s. Now, we would love to get some rainfall in California, especially Southern California, help Cal Fire out, help them extinguish those flames. But again, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Dry tonight, dry tomorrow morning. All the moisture is well off to the east, out across Utah, Colorado, points up to the north. Plenty of snowfall there. Low temps tonight, though, getting chilly. 36 in Fresno, 34 Bakersfield, 42 degrees Los Angeles. We have upper teens and lower 20s in northeastern Nevada. And it's going to be cold enough to actually kick in some frost advisories here, especially Santa Barbara northward and also right here just off to the east of San Diego. So don't be surprised to see a little bit of early morning frost tomorrow morning. All right, the forecast continues on. Very dry conditions continue throughout the day on Saturday and again out on Sunday. Might see a little more cloud cover just like today. San Francisco northward through Sacramento and Redding. But as the forecast loop continues here, this is through Sunday morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. There is just no rain in sight. Los Angeles, here's your extended forecast. It's sunny and it's dry. 70 tomorrow, 71 degrees on Christmas Eve. Look at Christmas Day Monday, 72 with a bunch of 70s Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Welcome back to Weather Nation. You're taking a look at Santa Barbara, California. For the last several weeks, we have been watching the Thomas Fire very closely. The largest wildfire in California of 2017, but actually close to becoming the largest wildfire in California history.
It's only about 500 acres away from hitting that milestone,
right.
Not one that we always want. But what's good this week is that the weather conditions getting a little bit better, the containment getting above 50%. There's always a nice threshold there.
Those firefighters, we have to give shout outs to the men and women, even the first responders protecting a lot of those cities in its path.
Yeah, there's an image on our Twitter account, Weather Nation, and it has several men that are laying down resting, and it's just like, wow, okay, yeah, the effort, the exhaustion there, so big thanks again to everybody fighting the fire. And
we were talking about where the Thomas Fire compares in state history, so let's get right to that graphic, and you'll see it is just under the Cedar Fire for the largest recorded in history. It was at 3, now it has moved up to 2, and you can see the difference in the acreage, how big some of these wildfires have been. Today, though, we do continue to watch out for that high fire danger, and that does include parts of Santa Barbara County, Ventura County, even down into LA County, and as far south as San Diego and some of the surrounding areas. But for Saturday, we're still going to have an elevated risk of high fire danger. Not as high as it's been in the past, but still, we have been getting a break. The red flag warnings were actually earlier on Friday expired, which was great news. I mean, we've been seeing those back to back to back for days upon end. And as we get into your forecast, though, for the holiday weekend in Los Angeles, we're going to see temperatures staying above average. Overnight temperatures will be down a little bit, which is great. We're talking 40s there. But we have just been watching the weather across the entire Southwest. It's been dry. We have no rain in the forecast. And you can see we still have those temperatures climbing in many spots. By Christmas Day, Phoenix will be at 75, 77 in Tucson, and even San Francisco Bay will get up into the 60s as we get into Christmas Day on Monday. We've been talking a lot about the wintry weather as well, and now we're going to check back in with meteorologist Steve Glazier to talk about the Pacific Northwest. We've seen a series of storms, Steve, coming through.
Yeah, this is the look for you from Seattle, Washington. This is earlier this evening. And you can see things looking okay for now, but we're going to be watching again some of those scattered storms that are going to be coming through. You know, we have waves of moisture that continue and some winter weather alerts that last through the rest of today and, in fact, go through the next couple of days as well. On the radar, you can see a couple of storms. Of course, the big one that we're watching in the south. Another weaker system that's just coming on shore across the Pacific Northwest that will continue to move down to the south and east. And there could be some heavy snow. There's actually some avalanche concerns as we get into parts of Colorado, into the Front Range areas, especially right along the Continental Divide for the day ahead tomorrow and through early Sunday because of the next onslaught of wind and snow that comes in tomorrow. So do watch out for that. Kind of check the local avalanche watches, warnings, etc., the conditions near you before you head out and skiing because we have more of that mountain snow that is going to continue to pile up. In terms of Seattle, Portland, we are looking at some colder rain moving into Portland on Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday, Monday as well. And that is going to go with the rain during the day and temperatures above freezing. It'll sink below freezing at night, so watch out for icy spots there. The big story to the east is cold. 7 for the Christmas Day high temperature in Billings and 29 in Cheyenne. Temperatures for Christmas Day across the central United States, it's going to be a little bit cooler than average, but pretty nice. And the warm spot there is 64 in Las Vegas. As we look at the big picture right now, across the Northeast, we're experiencing some snow and mixed precipitation. Heavy rain in the south and some mountain snow. Heavy rain in the south and some mountain snow across the west. Temperatures 10 in Billings, currently 36 Boston, about 80 it's made it to in parts of the south today. And then for tomorrow, we're looking at parts of the Four Corners in Wyoming with some snow, break in the Pacific Northwest, and very active along the east coast and especially northeast as temperatures are going to be right near the freezing mark there. Coldest as we go through the period in the high plains and upper Midwest. Christmas Eve travel does quiet down just a little bit.
All right, pictures from earlier today from Eugene, Oregon. Cloudy, kind of dreary, overcast, but actually fairly dry. We think that's going to be changing with rain moving into Eugene and some snow into the mountains of Oregon. Welcome back here to Weather Nation. Meteorologist Matt Monroe with your northwestern forecast. And More moisture. In fact, waves of moisture continue to work in out across the north and the west. Winter weather advisories and even winter storm warnings have already been posted. So right here, Portland, Salem, Eugene, it's probably rain when it comes in, but you get upper elevations and it changes over into a little bit of snow here right across north central Oregon up towards the Blue Mountains. And generally we're talking probably in the neighborhood of about 2 to 4 inches of snow. And then of course all the watches and the warnings and advisories kind of move eastward as the moisture also tracks off to the east. The pink are winter storm warnings and the purple winter weather advisories. Most of these go through Saturday morning. Okay, so here's the forecast. Let's dig right into it. This is the first wave of moisture here, and it starts working in through about 9 o'clock tonight Pacific time. So Portland, Salem, maybe even Eugene, some rainfall here, but as you move eastward across the state, it changes over into snow. So again, probably about 2 to 4 inches of snowfall here. It continues to track across Idaho in through western Montana, but overnight tonight, early tomorrow morning, eventually a lot of this kind of dissipates as the moisture works off to the south. Overnight low temps tonight, certainly plenty cold enough to support the snow. 21 Yakima, but at least Yakima is dry. 34 degrees in Portland and Salem. It stays as very cold. Rainfall can't rule out a couple of snowflakes in Portland, but nothing really sticks or accumulates. You get interior Oregon, and look at this, 22 in Bend, 25 Burns, 21 degrees in Baker City. So it's easy to see how that stripe of snow gets painted right across northern Oregon, and certainly cold enough for snow here across Idaho, 17 in Salmon, 28 degrees out across Boise. All right, the forecast continues here. We'll kick it off tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. The snow again winds down. It kind of winds down south of Boise, Twin Falls, Pocatello. It's pretty much out of there by early tomorrow afternoon with high pressure settling back in. However, that's not going to be it as far as the snow this weekend. It looks like another round comes in Sunday into Christmas Day Monday. In fact, there's another little stripe being painted right there. This is Sunday morning at about 6 o'clock in the morning. So this shouldn't amount to a whole lot, but definitely a little band of snow coming right across central Oregon overnight Saturday, early on Sunday. So again, the winter weather advisories are up right here through Idaho, and they continue to work eastward as that moisture does. So just want to kind of show you the big picture one more time. Saturday high temperatures, 28 in Lewiston, 34 in Boise, mid-20s in Salmon, 33 in Twin Falls. Seattle, chilly, but pretty dry, 37 there, lower 40s in Portland. Salem and Eugene, there's your high of about 44 degrees. Sunday morning's low. Look at Salmon, Idaho. That's 7 degrees below zero. Stay warm, Salmon. 3 Idaho Falls, 10 Pocatello, 17 in Twin Falls, 20 in Bend, and upper 20s out across Seattle. All right, the forecast continues here. This is now Sunday morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. Look at the moisture kind of work in through Baker City. Another burst of snow there in Boise. This is 8 o'clock Sunday night. It's approaching Salmon, Idaho Falls, Pocatello. Some snowfall coming down in Twin Falls. And again, it's a rain event up and down I-5. Portland, Salem, Eugene, rainfall there. And Seattle, you're forecasted also for it to just stay as rain. However, a couple of snowflakes might kind of slip in. No accumulation forecasted. And then there you go. This is very early on Christmas morning. And we're talking band of snow across southern Washington, northern Oregon, right across Idaho, in through western Montana. So there's round number 1 coming in. That will be tonight through tomorrow morning, and then round number 2 on Sunday into very early on Monday morning. And now just some cloud cover here. This will be Christmas night into the overnight hours. Sunday for high temperatures, 26 Salmon, 29 Lewiston, 29 in Yakima, some lower 40s in Portland, Salem, Eugene, upper 30s for the high temperature in Seattle. And as far as forecasted accumulation, this is kind of round number 1. Generally speaking, the light blue shading here is 1 to 3, 2 to 4 inches of snow. That's a general mix there. Pretty dry overnight Saturday night, early Sunday morning, and then round number 2, we start getting pinks in here, and look at that. Generally speaking, that's between 6 and 12 inches of snow total between now and Christmas night. Seattle, there's your forecast. Have a great night and enjoy your weekend.
Tricky holiday travel causes poor road conditions and airport delays for some.
About 6 million people will be flying this year, so the airports will be busy as well.
Winter conditions, including snow, cold, and ice, could be in store for some this weekend. And who could see a white Christmas? All this and much more on Weather Nation Now.
Thank you for staying with us. We do begin with the biggest story at this point. One of the higher impact events across the central down to the south is the heavy rainfall, the flash flooding threat. And this has led to water rescues this afternoon from the Emergency Management Office that reported that, and also houses that had water flowing into them.
Wow, and if you're just joining us, we're mostly talking about the south and central portions of the United States. Heavy rain that continues to move through. Next, we're going to talk about the impact up to the north, which is wintry. And this is just some of the video that we have seen here from a parking lot there in Arkansas with the flooding rains, and also here from our field correspondent Brandon Clement, some of the waste management trucks going through some of the high water right there. A lot of low-lying flooding, but as Nick mentioned, a couple of those other scenarios where we have had that much heavier rainfall accumulation. This is, again, it's coming out of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and again, this is really the image that shows you the slow driving. Definitely take it easy on the roads, allow extra time. You can see the water right there almost up to what appears to be almost up to the passenger side window right there, or driver's side window of that truck right there. So again, this is coming out of Stuttgart, Arkansas from Dusty on Facebook. This is earlier today, see first responders getting to that vehicle right there. So big thanks to those that are also helping out to get to any people that may have been stranded by some of the high water over the past 24 hours. This is a story that will continue as we go forward here in Arkansas and into parts of the central United States. It's going to be some heavy rain impacts, also some possibility of some ice accumulation here across parts of the southern United States that we're going to have to continue to watch very carefully too, because we're going to have to see how much more rain we'll see. About 1 to 3 more inches of rain coming in here to parts of Arkansas as well. And what we're looking at here is parts of that. Let's look at Washington, D.C. earlier today. And you can see, yeah, definitely feeling a little bit more like winter, clear, crisp across the area. D.C. not getting any rain right now, Nick, but it's about to.
It certainly is about to. It's all from that same system that's resulting in a lot of that heavy rainfall that brought in some of the flooding of the pictures that we were seeing there coming out of Arkansas. Look at this now. It's affecting areas such as Memphis, out toward Nashville, all the way up through Kentucky. And a lot of areas remain under flash flood warnings as we speak, including the city of Memphis. That goes in effect essentially all the way through about 10 o'clock or so local time for that heavy rain that we're continuing to follow there. So certainly looking at some potting of water on roadways and covered roadways of water there along parts of I-40, I-55, something that we need to take very carefully if you are heading out on the roadways. Switching over to one of our products here, I like to show this when we're talking about that flash flooding potentials. How much rain did we see? And off to the southwest near Pine Bluff, radar has estimated close to 4 inches. That's where we've had reports of water rescues earlier into the afternoon. Further to the east, getting closer to Memphis and such, looking at radar estimated totals between 1 to 3 inches, close to the west there, closer to 4 inches. So the bottom line is that rainfall has been pretty significant, and we are still watching it very carefully as it continues making its way through. To the west is wintry weather, areas like Oklahoma City. Down to the west, we're looking at freezing rain. Western Oklahoma, along the border of Texas, along parts of I-40, it's a slick commute there too, as we have a lot of the winter-like weather there. But one of the biggest impacts that we're following at this hour and through the overnight, and we'll be diving into a lot more of the forecast of this here in Weather Nation, is the winter event that's taking place already across New England. We've already received reports of 4, 5, 6 inches of snow there across parts of upstate New York into areas like western and southern Vermont. Now what we're looking at there is some of this rainfall that's taking place across portions of southeastern Mass. To the north is a rain-snow mix, and this has already caused a number of winter alerts that have been issued there through the course of tonight, through parts of Saturday. Let's bring back meteorologist Steve Glazier to talk more about where the alerts are at currently.
Yeah, we still have a winter storm warning here in the parts of Vermont. Actually, all of Vermont still under a winter storm warning. Most of New Hampshire into Maine and into parts of New York. The pink area really going to get hit hardest as we go forward over the next couple of days with bouts of this wintry weather. We're getting snow right now that pushes off, ends late tonight. We have to watch for this pink area into Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, as freezing rain will be more likely as we go through the course of tomorrow morning to midday. And we could, again, be talking about snowfall accumulation, 6 to 12 inches by the time we go through Christmas Day. As a look at Burlington, Vermont, we're going to continue to show you the step-by-step look into Christmas Day itself for New England.
Jamestown, New York saw quite the bit of weather throughout the day on Friday. What started out as snow changed to rain, and then as temperatures dropped, some freezing across the region. And unfortunately, that's exactly what we saw in many areas. New York didn't quite see that, but what we did see in the Big Apple was a little bit of rain. And now, with cooler temperatures in the forecast, we could actually be looking at some snow in the Big Apple just in time for Christmas. We've been getting a lot of questions, and those questions on social media have been about travel and whether or not people are going to see a white Christmas. So let's go ahead and break it down for you, because for a lot of you, even though there's rain, places like Jamestown, you will see a white Christmas, and that's good news. In fact, some of what falls here as we head into Monday is actually going to be snow for the Big Apple. Even though it doesn't stick, we could still be looking at some late Christmas Eve snow falling on down. Across the region, we're still hanging on to some of those winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings in northern Maine and into the Adirondacks, the Greens, the Whites, and even into portions of Maine. Portland, you're under that as well. Some locations through the day today will pick up almost a foot of fresh snow. A bullseye of that will be the Adirondacks and the Greens and the Whites. But look what happens with our next round of showers and storms, especially as we move into Sunday. This is where we have that potential to see a white Christmas across the region. Really, if you're looking at snowfall on this map, you're going to see a white Christmas. That's the good news for a lot of you. Unfortunately, once you get, say, south of New York down into Jersey, Philadelphia, and even the mid-Atlantic, that's where you're going to have temperatures just a little too warm to get any of that to really stick. Across the region, one of the main threats as snow changes over to rain will continue to be the ice. We could be looking at about 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of ice. In some areas, the biggest totals look to be from New Hampshire up into portions of Maine. Just take it easy, because this is a very nasty situation. We saw snow, and then rain moves in from the south as all of this rain is going to head east as we go into the weekend. We're looking at temperatures quite mild off to the south. We're hanging on to 50s through the overnight, 40s along the eastern seaboard. Not until you get up toward Boston do you get a little bit cooler air, and look at what happens back off to our west. This cold, that's going to make it in, and that's what gives us that next big snowstorm. So let's go ahead and break it down for you, because in the coming days, we are talking a downward trend in temperatures across the entire region. And that comes with the chance for rain and even snow for some as we move through the next few days. So let's say you're hitting the road and heading west. Pack the blankets, pack the parkas, because it is going to be exceptionally cold the farther west you go in the coming days. Low pressure center slides to the north, and that's kind of what brought us all of that moisture. Now, folks in Boston see snow change over to rain, and even as you start the day on Saturday, it is going to rain as far north as Portland, Maine, where we are seeing incredible amounts of snow. On Friday, Binghamton, rain. Buffalo, rain. Even into places like Jamestown, Syracuse, where we saw incredible amounts of snow, that's going to transition over to rain. The thing is, back behind it, a quick dusting of snow, and then we kind of lose some of the steam with this system. Along the coastal areas, that's going to stay rain even as we get into Sunday. But look at what happens by Sunday morning. Waking up to clear skies, but here's the big one right here. That is what is going to be our big weather maker throughout the day on Sunday. It pushes in and really takes over. Erie, Buffalo, Jamestown, you're all going to see snow as this moves in. So by Sunday evening, it takes over. And then for some of you, Monday morning, waking up to a little bit of snowfall. Boston will be waking up in the morning to some fresh snow. Bangor, Portland, even up toward Presque Isle, seeing that all come down as snow. Areas downwind of the Great Lakes looking at yet another round of lake effect snow, and that really ramps up as we see our next cold front pushing into the region as we go through the weekend. Most of what falls is going to be snow on top of the rain that falls late Friday into Saturday. Really not until you get into the mid-Atlantic do you see what falls staying as rain. Even Long Island sees a little bit of moisture as we head through the next couple of days, and temperatures looking quite mild across the region even as we work our way through the overnight. Presque Isle, you're downright cold though, 0 degrees. Bangor at 14, Portland 23, Burlington 18. But really once you get south of Binghamton, New York, you're looking at temperatures into the 30s, warmer than freezing, and for that reason, we are expecting to see rain. By the time you get into Saturday, 50 as far north as New York. That's going to melt everything that falls. Same with Binghamton, as you see 40 degrees there, 32 in Buffalo, 30s across much of the region, 25 in Presque Isle for your high.
What else would we show you besides a fiery-looking sunrise from Fire Island, New York earlier today? Oh, no, wait, hold on. That was, maybe that was a fiery sunset. Right there.
Fiery sunset.
Yeah, red sky at night, sailor's delight. I don't know. That one I've always gone back and forth on because they actually have some more wintry weather and precip moving in there to Long Island.
Yeah, we do. We've had a number of winter alerts that have been issued for parts of the Northeast, mainly into southern Connecticut, northward, all up to the international border.
Busy couple of days here,
Yes.
travel-wise and weather-wise. Let's get right to it here with our winter weather alerts that we have in effect. These cover most of New England. They go through various times through tonight and into tomorrow. Do note that they do include Buffalo, Watertown, Burlington, Presque Isle, and mostly for a wintry mix. Some heavy snow, some sleet, some freezing rain, and eventually this changes over to some rain as well. But some of the hardest hit locations, Portland, Burlington, Rutland, and Presque Isle in winter storm warnings. Here's the picture for tonight. We have had some snow, especially across interior New England. That subsides, it moves offshore. We get a little lull tonight, maybe some freezing drizzle here and there. And then for tomorrow morning, we're looking at this, the pink areas. So we could have some freezing rain as far south into Connecticut, Massachusetts, maybe northern Rhode Island. It's more so to your north. And that's really going to stay put in parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine for tomorrow. On the north side, you see some deeper blues. It's a heavier snow. And then here on the warmer side, it's a heavier rain and maybe a couple of downpours there. And then the freezing rain and mixture that moves up as you make your way up into Maine. This all clears tomorrow night into Christmas Eve morning. So for travel that day, it looks good, but watch out for some icy spots first thing on Sunday morning. Now we get a nice little break on Sunday for the Northeast, but Sunday some snow scoots across Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, meets up with another low for a nice wintry scene on Christmas morning across lots of the Northeast and New England. Quick hit of snow, but it could add up there as well. And when you put the couple of storms together, there's still a chance of 6 to 12, 6 plus. The 12 would be isolated up into northern Maine, most likely, and a pretty solid 2 to 4 inch heavier snow, heavier, wetter snow, and could see some icing here. Any areas in purple and pink, if you're in that area, definitely take it easy. Allow extra time. That ice is most likely tomorrow morning from the hours of about 7 a.m. all the way up until about 1 p.m. Eastern time for tomorrow. So that's a look at the Northeast. Let's transition you down to Pine Bluff, Arkansas, where we had our field correspondent, Brandon Clement, out and about earlier. And Nick, I know we have to watch out for some of the wet roads, icy roads in the Northeast, but wet roads down to the south.
Yeah, no doubt about that. It's a strong storm system that had a copious amount of moisture associated with it, making its way eastward. As we carry on through Saturday, even into Sunday, parts of the south looking nice and quiet and dry as that precipitation moves off to the east. So we have about another 12 to 18 hours or so left on this event before we start seeing most of that activity shift eastward with time. But from here on out, before we are all said and done, look at this. We could be looking at another area there picking up upwards of 1 to 3 inches of additional rainfall. We've already have flash flooding alerts in effect for areas like Memphis that go through this evening through parts of tonight. And this evening, a few of these storms may also contain some gusty winds as it continues making its way eastward. Through 10 o'clock Central Time is that flash flood warning that we have there for areas like Memphis due to the fact that we're picking up already received, based off of radar estimates, upwards of 2 to 5 inches of rain. On the colder side, we're still getting mainly rain here, but what this is, it's freezing rain as temperatures at the surface is generally into the upper 20s and lower 30s, enough to cause some icy conditions out there on the roadway. So if you're traveling tonight or if you're traveling into the morning hours for Saturday, just keep in mind there some of the roadways could become quite treacherous there as that freezing rain continues to make its way through. Now, we'll be wrapping up as we move to the morning hours, and by the afternoon, most of the area drying out there as the system continues making its way eastward. Here's that forecast, though, coming out of Memphis, Tennessee. We just have to get through this little road bump here, but by Christmas Eve, look at that. The sunshine comes back out. Temperatures in the upper 40s, near 50, but then we cool down a little bit further by Monday, looking at temperatures there at 42 degrees, and we stay in the lower 40s over the next several days.
Looking at a bit of an active weather pattern across much of the southeast as we head through the next couple of days. In fact, places like Atlanta, Georgia are looking at a rainy Saturday followed by a little bit of sunshine as we head into the holiday. But it is looking like temperatures are on the downward trend. In fact, our high on Monday is going to be just 47 degrees, which is actually colder than our overnight low. I'm Weather Nation meteorologist Jeremy Legoo. If you want to find the warmth, you're going to have to head pretty far south. Miami, in fact, will be rather warm. We're talking temperatures each and every day up near 80 degrees and then overnight lows down in the mid-60s. Not too terribly bad if you're asking me. And for some, decorating the palm tree is the way to go. We're looking at all of our rain back off to the west and even north, and that is going to take over much of the southeastern states, even down into Florida. Very light in nature as we move a little bit farther forward in the future, further forward in the future, and temperatures remaining quite mild. So as the rain moves in, that traps a lot of the heat across the region. We're hanging on to 50s from Charlotte over toward Jackson, and then even down into Florida, temperatures holding strong into the 60s.